Howdy everybody, welcome back to RPG Horror Story Time. Let's jump right into our first story. Our first story today is going to be from user Last Opposite 2502 and is titled, Is This Bad TTRPG Etiquette or Am I Just Being a Baby? Throwaway to avoid naming and shaming. Hope this isn't too much of an am I the asshole style question to post here, but I could really use a sanity check from other people in the TTRPG scene. I've not played regularly in a number of years and would love to get a second opinion on whether I'm overreacting to normal stuff or if this is bad group behavior. TLDR, is it rude to take over playing someone else's original character after you kick them out of a group? Context. An IRL friend thought I would be a good fit for their online Powered by the Apocalypse group. GM was a friend of theirs and asks me to join. I pitched a character and the GM approves. Group is great, tone is very chill and not overly edgy. We get on great and I play with them for over a year. Scheduling for the group is a hot mess, but I don't feel I can say anything because I'm the newbie. There is an, quote, official time and day each week, but the start times move up to an hour either way based on the player's childcare needs, work, health, stuff, etc. And the day is sometimes canceled or swapped at short notice for different points in the week, which I completely understand. Except there is no schedule announcements channel in the group's Discord. All schedule changes / requests are posted, often without tagging anyone in the main channel, which is a constant daily scroll of chat, memes, and venting. If the game starts half an hour early this week or is Wednesday instead of Friday, you better hope you scrolled up through everyone else's work drama enough to see that message. I often can't check my phone during work shifts and occasionally I'm 10 to 15 minutes late to the start of games because I didn't see the message at 10:30 a.m. saying we're playing today instead of tomorrow. I let the other players know this, but nothing changes. Okay, I run multiple online games. There are scheduling bots out there that will notify you and those who RSVP for the event 15 minutes before they start. And when I do this, I also have a channel that will list the availability as well. It's a fucking godsend, let me tell you. It offers a place for people to note issues with them potentially being there or caveats to being able to play. If you're running an online game and you use something like Discord to communicate, make a separate channel in your Discord server. You can easily set a channel within a server to notify you if any posts are ever made in there so that you can keep up to date on important things like scheduling your games / sessions. There's no excuse to not have a separate channel for your availability if you're having issues making sure people are there and available. There's no excuse. Just make a separate channel. It takes literally 10 seconds. About a year in, I ended up forgetting a game due to a last-minute work trip emergency. It was on the regular game night, but in the chaos of my work trip going from a 2-hour meeting to surprise CEO presentation, mandatory dinner meeting, possible layoffs, still there 7 hours later, I totally blanked on it being game night and forgot until I was commuting home at 9 p.m. I messaged everyone as soon as I realized to apologize. I fully admit I fucked up there. The group starts a side chat in my absence that night and tells me the next day I'm too flaky for them and need to leave. This seems like hell because I have ADHD and have struggled hard to keep up with the schedule being a moving target, and I don't feel I've been any more flaky than anyone else in the group. I say my piece, the GM decides to remove me from the group chat, quote, for a week to let everyone calm down and then proceeds to never contact me again. Okay, I can take a hint. All right, I'm gonna be honest, this is kind of a dick move. If OP has a ton of issues with being available when they play, the DM should ask them what's going on. Just a quick 5-minute chat. OP can note if life, health, etc. are getting in the way, and they can potentially talk about options to either help OP make sessions or make sure OP / the players are better notified of upcoming sessions. Also, it's a good time to talk about maybe making them a guest star if they're having issues attending the sessions on a regular basis instead of being a main player if life is getting in the way. Jumping to the conclusion to immediately boot them from the group is a bit harsh. Really shitty, especially because I'm sure they explained during this, hey, I was not intending for my work trip to turn from a couple hours into 7 hours later, surprise, we might get laid off. I would personally, if a player came to me with that and said that, I'd be like, holy shit, 1, are you okay? I'm so sorry you had to go through that. 2, that's okay. We'll catch you up on the next one or something. Like, that is an obscenely insane situation that will happen. That is, to me, that is like an emergency situation. That'd be like getting mad at OP because they ended up in the hospital or something like that, like something beyond their control. Like, work-related stuff to me is as important as health, because if you're not working, chances are you're going to have issues living, and if you're not living, you can't play the game. So And to be honest, life comes before playing a TTRPG. I'm sorry. Like, it's very important. Don't get me wrong. I love getting to play in my campaigns and stuff, but work has to come first because I have to have a roof over my head, and that should be everybody's prerogative here. And if the immediate conclusion you come to because they were late, super late, unfortunately, due to this kind of work shit going on, unless OP is using that as an excuse every single time, it's kind of shitty. So the situation sucks, but I do my best to let it go. Bad compatibility happens all the time in tabletop games, and I'm not going to pester to be back in a group that clearly doesn't want me there. Completely understandable. My IRL friend keeps me updated on what's going on in the game story, which sucks a little in a look at all the fun we had at the party we disinvited you from way, but she likes sharing this stuff and I like her company. Except, then my friend mentions they're still playing my character months later. Apparently everyone loved my character so much they decided to keep them on as an NPC party character after kicking me out. I'm hurt by this because it feels like a seriously passive-aggressive move. My friend doesn't understand why I'd have a problem with this and thinks I should take it as a compliment on my character writing. Okay, I can understand being offended. You, the player, helped make the PC special. By removing you, that PC no longer has that driver making the PC special. Like, sure, a cool backstory or character idea can make a PC interesting, but the player's actions, their roleplay, how they interact with the world, how they interact with the rest of the party, that's what really makes a PC shine. It's not, oh, hey, you had a really cool concept. It's you took that cool concept and you played it really well in the campaign. You were awesome to play off of. You did this really cool thing that one time. That's what makes them shine. And to kick you from the group and keep that PC going is really shitty. I get that I can't control what they do and that my emotional reaction is equivalent to sulking over who's allowed to play with your imaginary action figures, but it still feels like shitty behavior to be told that people you considered friends like having all the perks of you around just without actually having to have you around. When I've run games in the past, if a player had to leave the group for any reason, I'd write their character out of the story. I wouldn't keep the character around and tell the ex-player all the adventures they're having that the player can't attend. If you're evicting a player from your game, I think you've got to own the decision enough to accept you're choosing between having that person and character in your game or not. I'm not going to message them or start drama with them about it, but it'd be good to know if I'm way off base here. Is this something that just happens in games now when players leave? Have you ever seen this happen in a group before? I would agree. If a player is out, their PC should either die off or ride off into the sunset. They should not be an active member of the party as an NPC, especially in a situation where you booted the player for scheduling issues. In my games, if a player is out, their PC is out. My players thankfully are smart enough to not ask after these random characters either. They just accept, Fabian is gone now, and just let it be. I also understand OP's distaste for this. It's someone else putting a spin on their character. The potential for that to not be respected here is quite high, especially given that the group wasn't, at least from the info we've been given, the most respectful to OP. I gotta ask you though, my beautiful, beautiful viewers, what are your thoughts? Do you think PCs should be allowed to continue to exist as NPCs in a campaign once that player leaves? Are there certain times that could potentially be allowed, certain times that should not be allowed? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear about them. Before we jump on to our second story of the video, I just want to remind everybody I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/vandavy. Links are down in the description. Please follow me there. I stream on Twitch throughout the week. I would love to hang out with you all there. Let's jump on to the next story, though. Our next story is going to be from user Adventurous Step 71 and is titled Wizard Commits Acts of Domestic Terrorism and Thinks He Did Nothing Wrong. The characters in this tale are the cleric, a wizard who's our problem player, the paladin, a fighter, and a monk. This happened a few months ago. In my current campaign as the DM, the party visited the kingdom's magical hub city to investigate a series of nightmares, madness, and seek more information about the Plane of Dreams. The paladin, a new introduction to the party in-game, brought them to his brother, a conjuration wizard who has conducted a sleep study and research about said phenomenon. Now, the wizard's sister has been a key player in the plot as she is heavily linked to the birth of a new god and has been giving clues while trapped in the dream realm and suffering from madness herself. This was the wizard's driving force. Research led the team to an asylum where they intended to question one of the patients who partook in the sleep study for more information. The wizard and monk went undercover as orderlies, and when simply asked where they were headed, the wizard said, should we, boom? I'm gonna just jump in here just with a little snippet. The campaign premise here, I'm very interested in. This is a really cool The GM is clearly, the DM here has like got some like layers here. They've got some stuff planned out. You know, they're involving a lot of the different characters into the story here in intricate ways. This sounds actually like a really cool premise. I'm here for it. The wizard initiated combat for no reason, which set off a building-wide battle while the rest of the party struggled to make it into the building for aid, not knowing what was happening. This event resulted in the wizard casting lightning bolts on innocent civilians trying to protect patients from what is now domestic terrorism. Wizard reads the spell description, mentioning that it ignites any object not being worn or carried. Okay, I described the asylum catching fire, which becomes a further obstacle. Several rounds later, the wizard's player, who we'll call Josh, is confused and upset as to why it's burning. Like, baby girl, you read the description. Chat, do you hear that? Is that the consequences of my own actions? Why is my foot bleeding? Don't cry when you shot yourself in the foot. Okay, I'm just gonna, I hate it. I hate when players get mad that their actions have consequences. Like, oh, my brother in Melora, you're interacting with the world, and sometimes your actions have consequences. Like when you fucking set off lightning bolt in a building. My dude. The player then attempts to get the patient, Subject G, to come with him. Subject G has been described to suffer from extreme paranoia and is unable to function in society. Not to mention that now she is trapped in a burning building with the man who started it all. The wizard then gets extremely upset that his, quote, plan isn't working. Meanwhile, the rest of the party is begging him to leave with them as the city guard is reinforcing and headed to their location. The cleric, his best friend at the time, is literally sobbing in and out of game while sending him a message to leave. The wizard only says, quote, give me a minute. The fighter, observing it all, contemplates shooting the wizard as this, to him, is way past the point of no return. He is no longer a hero. The wizard attempts to manipulate the fighter with magic, which shocked his player and later prompted him to express said boundary outside of game. We are heading to some potentially deadly territory here. We have not only potential PvP, emotional tensions are very high here amongst the party, and a spellcaster is attempting to manipulate and take away player agency. In times like these, it does not hurt to pause and discuss above table. If needed, have people walk away for a couple minutes at the very least. Arguments during this will get you nowhere. Now, I'm not sure what lines have been drawn here before this. Did the party okay the use of charm or magic to manipulate another player's agency? Is that allowed? For me, it sounds like it wasn't fully, it probably wasn't discussed beforehand. It sounds like it was afterwards. For me here, when we're talking about PvP and taking away other players' agency, this is concerning territory. A lot of bad things can happen really, really quickly when either of these things happen at a table that is not okayed. Now, this is the least of the problems. Outside of the game, Josh refuses to acknowledge that he, A, derailed the campaign and essentially ruined what the party was working towards, and B, he genuinely hurt another player, Alex's feelings, and crossed a personal line. Amid this and outside talks of how to handle the campaign situation, Josh simply said that they would blame the Paladin's brother for everything because he, quote, did a sleep study that drove people crazy and gave them drugs. I gave them a whole dossier of said study in-game where it was explicitly stated that no drugs were given. At this point, we were unsure if Josh wasn't paying attention or was just using this as an excuse. When the cleric's player asked if he seriously planned on doing this, he actually called her delusional, saying that he never said that. Several screenshot receipts were shared with him of the previous conversation, and he still denied it. They need to take a really quick breather. Yes, Josh's actions very likely have derailed this campaign, at the very least in the short term. And he definitely crossed a line, but this line may not have been known at the time. When situations like this come up, you need to have an above-table conversation if you have not already discussed that topic, i.e. a topic such as taking away another player's agency with something like the utilization of charm. Josh is clearly getting defensive here because they have fucked up. It can help to take a quick breather if you're in a session to let everyone cool down or just end the session there. Josh does need to do a little introspection here, though, and they need to realize that them killing innocent people was fucked up and derailed things. Assuming the other players don't want to jump to kicking them, the party can come back from this. It just might require a fuck ton more work. Hopefully all the players have been paying attention to any lore docs they got so that they are acting on what info their characters should know. I can understand potentially Josh misinterpreting that drugs were being used in the sleep study, but they also might be adding that falsehood for added dramatic flair for their reasoning for murder. Josh also needs to be less aggressive when defending themselves. Calling other players delusional is a bit harsh and immature. When it comes to having to apologize, there are ways to apologize where you don't go, hey, I fucked up because I crossed this line. Because arguably, this line was not known to have been something that could have been crossed. Josh, at the very least, should go, hey, Alex, I'm so sorry I did this. My intention was not to cross a line with you. It won't happen again. It's very easy. You don't have to hey, you don't have to go hey, Alex, I'm a complete fucking idiot and I'm doing things and I'm a horrible human. No, you don't have to do that. Just apologize. So just do a little introspection, guys, occasionally, because I get it. We all have been there. You're in the moment and you're like, fuck, and just shit just derails and you just do something. You're like, fuck, we got to do something. And you just do something. And all of a sudden you just go off the tracks and it's just going and going and going and going and going. And maybe lines get crossed. Maybe you do shit that derails the campaign, potentially for a little bit. It happens. It's okay. Do a little introspection. Don't be afraid to apologize. There's nothing wrong with apologizing. Go, hey, I'm so sorry. I really wasn't thinking here. I freaked out. We did this thing here. In the future, I will try to not do something like that again, or something like that. Josh still refused to apologize to Alex and began attacking him personally, despite Alex being calm and only trying to establish a basic boundary in and out of game. Several other players reached out to Josh trying to get through to him, but to no avail. Eventually, it seemed like the two had come to an understanding and agreed to sort things out character-wise the following session. When the session came around, the wizard doubled down yet again and then started yelling at the players and calling them delusional yet again. This session promptly ended. I attempted to reach out to Josh to mediate and try to schedule a three-way call between him, Alex, and I. Josh ignored my messages for 3 days straight and then said he was busy. In reality, he was active in other servers, playing video games with some other friends. After everything, I kicked him out of the campaign, and it's better off without him. He still interacts with us on other servers like nothing happened. Most of us try to ignore him. We'll make another post with conversation screenshots since I can't upload more than one here. Okay, I attempted to find these conversation screenshots because I was interested. I could not find them from OP. I'm not going to knock them for it. But if they were around, I would have included them here. Now, I agree that kicking was likely the best choice here. Josh is being very rude and defensive when they need to see what their actions have done. They refuse to acknowledge a newly requested boundary for the game, which Alex seemed to politely put forward. If Josh was acting this way both in and out of game, he will continue to cause problems later. So removing them from the game is probably the best option here. I will say this though, sometimes in the moment we get drawn in and we do regrettable things in game. You should always take a step back and go, man, I fucked up, and try to above table amend things or make sure the party is okay with it, and note not to fuck up as hard again in the future. Our last story is going to be from user Educational Air 7573 and is titled My DM Hit a God Force Herself on My Goblin and Made Me Roll It Out. So it was a while ago, so it won't be too in detail, but I still remember it somewhat well. I was a goblin fighter named Gar Slasher, a little light blue goblin I loved. Well, a god took interest in him and made her harass him constantly. No way to get rid of her. And about 9 sessions in, he had put me and the party into the dungeon. We didn't really have a choice, and he had us stuck in a near unstoppable fight. Well before the dungeon, he hinted to call upon the god, but it would cost him. I assume being Nar here. So without any choice, Nar calls for them. They one-shot the enemy, bring him to Nar's wagon, and proceeds to have the god force herself on him. Described it and made me roll multiple opposing con checks to not die from the gods. By the end, he was in single-digit health, and I was left there uncomfortable nonetheless. Nar was my favorite character. Unfortunately, next time I used him was in my ex's campaign, and they turned out to be sexual with minors and animals, so ... Okay, I don't know how many of you were reading the text off to the side here along with me, but holy run-on sentence Batman. There is a lot to unpack here. So, for those of you who were more paying attention to this than my beautiful voice, I attempted to split it up as best I could. Let's summarize it though. OP loves Nar, their light blue goblin fighter. The DM had a goddess take interest in Nar. Nar? Gar. Gar. I've been mispronouncing it this whole time. It should be fucking Gar. Like the fish, but that doesn't have an H in it. I'm not redoing all that. We're gonna keep going here. The DM here, through a difficult fight at the party, it seems to make Gar call on the goddess for help. When Gar went along with asking for assistance, the DM had the goddess immediately unfuck the likely unwinnable fight and decide that Gar needed to repay the goddess sexually. Big no-no here, by the way. Unless talked about beforehand, do not force your kinks and fetishes onto your players. Or, if you're a player, do not force your kinks and fetishes onto the DM and other players. Especially do not force them on this in this way and describe it in great detail. With saves. And describe in great detail how Nar and this goddess are interacting. This is a massive overstep, unless approved by everyone at the table beforehand. Which from the sounds of it here, it was not. I'm sorry, OP's character was tainted by this non-consensual roleplay here. Hopefully Gar can get a clean start with a different DM or setting where they won't be harassed by a goddess or in a campaign. I'm hoping it's a campaign that includes some very inappropriate themes. I will leave it at that for it. Okay, guys, thanks for hanging out, everybody. That's going to be it for today. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. I love getting to read your comments. I do my best to interact with all of the comments on YouTube. Otherwise, please catch me on Twitch. Love getting to hang out with y'all on Twitch when you do come and hang out. Otherwise, I will see you guys all in the next one. Everybody.